Here are the answers. What is your favorite ancient/historic culture to study for spiritual or just for purely informational interest? And why? We had to learn about Greek and Roman culture to some extent in high school, and I've always maintained an interest in that. Many of the deities and deity concepts that I work with are from those pantheons. Recently I've been learning more about Celtic culture and lore because while I always had that interest, I never learned as much about it because it just wasn't what we were learning as much. And it was recently confirmed that the other part of my heritage that I never got to know was in fact Celtic, so I have even more of a push now to feel that I really want to learn more about it now. I learned about all different types of cultures, religious beliefs here and there, just as I learned things about history of the goddess and things like that, but Greek and Roman and Celtic have been my focuses throughout the years and now. Tia asked, do you think you'll ever cut or dye your hair? The shortest my hair has ever been was like up to my shoulders here. And I do that every couple of years. I think the last time was 3 or 4 years ago now. And I've never dyed my hair, but I have done color mousse, which was semi-permanent and it washed out after a couple of weeks. But right now, no, I don't plan to cut it or dye it because I'm an actor and anything that I do to my appearance could potentially affect what roles I get. Plus, I just like it, so I'm good for now. What is your favorite pagan recipe? I make crescent cookies a lot, which is either from Solitary Witch or Cunningham's Wicca, and I never remember which one it's from, or the offering stones recipe that we learned from Crazy Boy TX here on YouTube, although that's not edible, it's still a recipe. Views on Fairy Wicca, book suggestions for it. I don't know much about it, so I don't really have any views on it, though Starhawk talks a little bit about the Fairy Wicca tradition that she knows about, or that she was in the Spiral Dance. And I also have Fairy Wicca Book 1 by Kisma K. Stepanich, which I haven't really gotten much into because it was really overwhelming at first to like open it up and immediately just begin learning about an entirely different cultural way to go about it. And so I'm going to read it, but it'll be when I have time to really get through it because skimming it is not gonna work. What are your views on Taoism and Buddhism as a Wiccan? I don't think I can speak as a Wiccan on this, but if anything, I am speaking as an eclectic one. Like most other religions/philosophies, there are several teachings of Taoism and Buddhism that I agree with and incorporate into my practice. But there are also things that I don't completely agree with because my views as a Wiccan or as, other branches of paganism that I agree with supersede them. If I agreed with it entirely, then I would just be a Taoist or a Buddhist. And I agree with a lot of it, and I think they are good things for anyone to incorporate. What was your housekeeping job in the past, and what do you plan to do in the future? I was a housekeeper at a healthcare facility. It was just housekeeping. I mean, it was like cleaning up, disinfecting. I had to sanitize rooms when people got discharged, taking out the garbage, stuff like that. It wasn't bad. Like, I could still be a housekeeper, but I would rather make beds. In the future, I plan to be more involved in my degree area of theater and in religion, because those are basically the two main areas that drive my life. G. Romero had just read something about Valentine's being a pagan festivity, and wanted me to make a video about all of the celebrations that have a pagan origin. I know you said another video, but I wanted to address it here because I had never heard of Saint Valentine's Day being based on a pagan holiday because it's Saint Valentine's Day. It's from his specific life events. But so I looked it up, and there definitely are similarities to pagan festivals about fertility and things like that, which also happened around the same time period, like in February. But according to what I read, there are no known direct links as far as St. Valentine's Day directly evolved from a specific pagan holiday. At least not that is known right now. History repeats itself and we get ideas from other people, so there are bound to be similarities, but right now there is no direct link about like what pagan festival St. Valentine's Day used to be. Where did you go to university? I prefer not to share that. I never have. Personal choice, but it was just a small private undergraduate school. Here it would be called a college because it didn't offer a graduate program. Riggerman asked me a couple questions via email, so the first one is, what is your view on Norse paganism, or as some would call it, being a heathen? I don't think it was this person, but someone messaged me a while ago asking me if I thought that heathenry was essentially different from all different types of paganism and therefore was like completely split, or if I thought it was just another type of belief under the same umbrella. And obviously there are differences, because again, if I agreed with all of it, then I would just be a heathen, but I do consider it another thing involved in the larger, diverse pagan family. Eric is kind of my go-to Norse guy. He's Wednesday on the Pagan Perspective, and the person who asked this question is also a Norse pagan. They're the two that I can think of off the top of my head, so if any of the rest of you would like to learn more about that, those are people that you could go to. Second, he had more of an idea that he just wanted me to talk about, which is hopefully to have each and every group of what society now calls earthbound religions actually get together and be one again like they were before the Crusades. I had to ask for clarification on this one because there was never one unified group, but I guess the idea is just the way that everyone followed some type of pagan path and that was just accepted. I do think it would be ideal for various practitioners under the huge category of pagan, earth-based, or otherwise non-Abrahamic faiths, because they're not all nature-based and not everybody likes the word pagan, to stop ragging on each other. That would be nice. We get enough hatred as it is, so I agree that it would be helpful to just get back to kind of accepting that everyone has different ways of going about it, and we don't have to hate each other for doing it another way. I think a lot of us do think that way right now, but not everyone does. And it's not gonna be everyone anytime soon, but yes, it is a fine idea. And now the home stretch, only a few more. Could you share a funny or embarrassing moment that has happened to you in your practice? At my high school, the graduating theater seniors were supposed to share embarrassing moments that happened to them during shows, and I said that I didn't have any because I was never really in a big enough role. Nothing embarrassing ever happened to me. And then a few hours later, that evening, I tripped and fell down the stairs after receiving an award. And apparently as Dorothy, I accidentally kicked the Toto puppet, and that was kind of funny. But nothing to that caliber has ever really happened in my practice. I mean, I've done things that would be embarrassing if other people saw them, like dancing around in a field at 3 a.m. But those kinds of things are only embarrassing because the people who would see them don't understand. It's not embarrassing in the right company. The first ritual I ever tried is really funny in retrospect, and I read journal entries from it in a Pagan Perspective video a while ago, so I'll link you to that if you want to watch. But yeah, not a whole lot. I mean, we've all spilled melted candle wax on our altar cloths and tripped on long skirts and burnt our fingers, right? Right? Kathy asked me a bunch of questions, so one at a time. What is your favorite food? I like many variations of potato. What food do you despise? After all these years, I still don't like tomatoes and onions. What color bra are you wearing right now? The day I first saw the comment, it was yellow, and today I have just been really busy and not gotten dressed. If you could have 3 wishes, what would they be? To find a job doing what I love that pays well, to be able to travel all over to meet different people and do different things, and generally to make a positive difference in the world at large. What do you think is your biggest flaw and strongest attribute? My biggest flaw is probably that I am overly critical of myself and am definitely my own worst enemy. And my greatest attribute is probably just the passion that I have for the things that I really care about. Could you survive a zombie apocalypse? I really don't know. Probably not, but then again, I've seen some movies recently where the tiny pale chick gets it done. And the last question that I got, I have to read because it's kind of longer. What concepts/beliefs do you find most inspiring in other belief systems/philosophies that you have encountered in your life and research? Such as teachings from your childhood religion, messages from Gandhi, the Dalai Lama, Mother Teresa, etc. Being an eclectic Wiccan, have you incorporated any of these into your belief system? Being an eclectic practitioner, that is the whole point. Yeah, I can't think of any teachings from Catholicism that I still use, but that is where I was first introduced to the practice of lighting candles for people and things, and we still do that at my Unitarian Universalist church. Many teachings of the Dalai Lama, and I have a box of cards with quotes from him on it for meditation, daily affirmation type purposes, and I wrote about one of them recently on my blog. There are definitely things from Gandhi and the Buddha and other teachers of that nature, but no quotes that are like so central to my path that I could quote them right now, but there are general teachings of those paths. Parts of Native American spirituality, African traditions, various European paths. But then there are also poets and thinkers and authors and philosophers whose teachings and ideas I really enjoy, like Thoreau, Frost, Emerson, Dickinson, Muir, Epicurus, Aristotle, and yes, even Mother Teresa, but only because I recently played her in a show, so I did a lot of background research and learned about her. It's all basically things about nature, things about people coming together, a global community, and beliefs being different, but all kind of being different means to the same end, how we don't really know what's out there and the ways that we can find more. I learned a lot of lessons from The Last Days of Judas Iscariot, which is the play in which I played Mother Teresa. A lot of things from that show that helped me personally and spiritually that I continually reference. But along with all these famous names, I also learned from people that I meet every day, too. That was it for this first Q&A video, guys. Thank you so much for the good questions, even the ones that I didn't entirely understand. I hope you enjoyed what I came up with, and we'll do this again sometime. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!